यूक्रेन रशिया विवाद पर हमारे साथ एक्सक्लूसिवली बात करने के लिए भारत में रोमानिया के राजदूत डैनिएला ताने जी हैं. उनसे बात करते हैं. Thank you so much, Excellency, for giving time to ABP News. I understand. I can see how busy you are. Ma'am, I saw Prime Minister Modi speaking to your Prime Minister last evening. We got the releases also. In which direction the all effort of evacuation is up to?
So, namaste. The Romanian Prime Minister and the Indian Prime Minister Modi discussed about the situation in Ukraine. The Romanian Prime Minister conveyed our deep worry about the way the situation evolved in the past days, about the big numbers of refugees, because we have also huge numbers of refugees in Romania. About 30,000 refugees are crossing daily the Romanian border. So it's not only, this includes all the Indian students, Nepali students, African students, Asian students, other people who are caught in Ukraine. Also about the efforts done together. We are doing joint efforts to evacuate the Indian students, the Romanian authorities with the Indian embassy in Bucharest. And about the Prime Minister Modi wanted to thank Romania for our support.
And he also did mention and thanked you for letting the Indians cross the border without visas.
Yes. This is, of course, it's an emergency situation, and we do whatever we can. All people crossing Romanian borders are exempted from having a visa.
Okay.
I want to mention something in case people don't have papers because they have lost them. They have to approach the Indian consuls at the borders to give them travel documents.
Okay.
To have some kind of papers.
Okay. The Union Minister, Civil Aviation Minister, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, is also traveling to Romania. How are you going to facilitate, further evacuation process from here on?
I've met yesterday evening Minister Scindia. I assured him of our entire support. Actually, this morning I wrote messages to our Ministry of Transport and to the border police, informing them about his visit and asking them to give him full support. Of course, he will be also received by the Indian ambassador in Bucharest, but I ensured everybody about the full cooperation of Romanian authorities in this difficult operation.
So, ma'am, Romania is, as I understand, ready to take as many number of Indian students from across, because there were some complaints by the Indian students that they were facing some problems in probably different borders.
No, we receive everybody. Probably the complaints, there is a misunderstanding. People have to wait for hours, sometimes for days at the border crossing points. It's because there are huge lines. At a certain moment at Siret border, it was a queue of 15 kilometers. So the Ukrainian security forces are checking up each and every car because they don't want to let men fleeing the conflict, because it's a conscription. It's a national conscription for all men aged between 18 and 60. So that's the problem. On the Romanian side, the border police is processing very fast the people, but some process is there. Okay. So we know it's cold. We know the dire situation in which the refugees are. They are waited on our side of the border by the population, by the local population. I think you have seen this very beautiful scenes where people are offering them food, water, and shelter.
Ma'am, as we speak, just last evening, the two sides met, the Russian and the Ukrainians, but there was no outcome. They have agreed to meet yet again. What is Romanian's position on it?
We hope that the dialogue will prevail, but we are not optimistic about it. You cannot talk when you have an invasion in your country. In order to have negotiations, you need to stop completely the hostilities, which did not happen. Mm-hmm. I just read that now there is a huge convoy of tanks, armored vehicles, Russian armored vehicles advancing towards Kiev. Mm-hmm. So there is no negotiation possible in this situation.
We are also told that Russians have used vacuum bombs there.
Yes, this is what I also read in the press. I don't know more about it.
Ma'am, you think Russia should realize that, you need to pull back your forces for these negotiations to go on?
Yes, but I don't think President Putin is ready to do anything for the time being. He doesn't want to cooperate. You can see the extent to which international sanctions have been announced and they started taking place. I mean, the European airspace is completely closed to Russian aircraft, and still Putin doesn't want to change his mind.
Ma'am, the forces position, it seems that the intent is to block Kyiv from all the sides, so that whatever kind of assistance, military or otherwise, being sent by the other European or NATO nations should not reach Kyiv. Do you think that is the intent?
Yes, probably. I don't know. I did not have time to follow up the exact way the military operations are taking place.
Okay. Ma'am, I would certainly like to ask you one thing. That at the hindsight, is there a feeling that some sort of military action at the beginning by America or the NATO countries could have prevented this?
No, it's not possible to have a NATO intervention or an American intervention, because this might worsen the situation. In case NATO intervenes, we can have a third world war. NATO doesn't have a mandate to protect a country which is not its member. And this is, I mean, Putin refused to understand the reason of Ukraine wanting to join NATO. NATO is a totally defensive alliance. It's not an offensive alliance. So it's in case one of its member states are under attack, they have to come for rescue. They cannot come with troops to rescue Ukraine. Okay. And Putin knows that.
And do you think the world community, via United Nations or the European Union or by some other way, will be able to put that much pressure on Putin to probably now stop it?
I don't think he cares about what the international community says for the time being. I think what can happen is that the economic sanctions, which are very harsh, they will have a direct impact and immediate impact on the Russian population, and they might revolt somehow. But I don't see Putin stopping in any way. He went very far.
Just one last question. What happens from here on now then? In your assessment?
I would like to know. I think the war will continue.
And you think India can play some role?
Yes, India has very good relations with Russia, and India could try to somehow make Putin be reasonable, discuss with Putin. Prime Minister Modi could try to have a discussion with President Putin, making him to change his mind, discussing not only about the fate of the Indian students, but asking him to change his mind, because we are going in a very, very gray zone.
And you have an opinion on India abstaining from the vote at the UN?
India tries to have a balanced approach because of its very good relations, strategic partnership with Russia, and we know there are historical ties. But in this moment, I think it's important for all of us to stand up for the protection of the international law. We cannot say that we are for a rule-based order in the international field and not protecting this rule-based order when we need it most.
So you think India should review its position at the UN?
I think so, yes.
Thank you very much for talking to us, ma'am. I understand you're totally so busy, but grateful that you gave time to us. भारत में रोमानिया के राजदूत रोमानिया आउट ऑफ द वे जाके पूरी मदद कर रहे हैं भारतीय नागरिकों को वापस लाने के लिए। ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया वहां पहुंच रहे हैं। बड़ी बात कि रशिया मान जाएगा ऐसा लगता नहीं, और भारत को यूनाइटेड नेशंस में अपने पोजीशन पर दोबारा से पुनर्विचार करना चाहिए। कैमरामैन सुंदर के साथ आशीष कुमार सिंह, एबीपी न्यूज, दिल्ली।
पंजाब ते पंजाबियत दा परछावा, पंजाबी साडियां बावां, एबीपी सांझा। हुण देखो अपने टीवी स्क्रीन ते टाटा प्ले चैनल नंबर 1929 ते। एबीपी सांझा देखण लई अपने केबल ऑपरेटर नु अज ही संपर्क करो। एबीपी सांझा, जोश, जज्बा, जुनून।